Hello, everyone. My name is Katherine Kreidler with the National Sports Media, and today I have the honor to interview Mr. Matt Pinto, the 2024 winner of the National Sports Media competition this year. So thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure, Catherine. Good to be here.
First of all, congratulations on winning, and what was your reaction when you found out?
Surprise. I honestly was not aware I'd been nominated. I was calling a Thunder Celtics game at Oklahoma City and
Hmm.
saw a message pop up from Dave Gorin, who oversees the entire process, and knew
Hmm.
something might be up. And it was nice to hear his proclamation after that I had, won the Oklahoma 24 Sportscaster of the Year. So very honored. Anytime work is recognized in that way, it's an incredible honor, and I'm very humbled by it.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. Could you give us a little background of how you first got interested in sports and then your journey to how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, it began for me at an incredibly young age. I fell in love with sports at an early age. When I
Hmm.
was six, decided that if I couldn't ultimately play, that I was going to be committed to broadcasting and just really followed that path. I'm about 5'10", 170 now. I was like 155 at the time I was being considered to play athletically. I was recruited to play baseball,
Hmm.
played some, but ultimately veered off into broadcasting. And I'm grateful I did. I have great passion for what I've been blessed to have an opportunity to do for now 35 years in the NBA as a play-by-play broadcaster. So, the Lord is good, and I'm very grateful and blessed for the way things have unfolded.
That's awesome. Could you tell us about the first job you ever had?
Yeah, broadcast wise, it was in the Texas Panhandle.
Okay.
So it was one of those, paying your dues sort of moments. I don't have a great affinity for country music, but I was a country music DJ in addition to doing the sports on the air, doing the play by play of high school sports, which in Texas is almost like religion, and
Mhm.
did play by play for a junior college locally that was a lot of fun. So it was an elevated level of competition over high school DeCall, which was a great blast for me to get kind of acclimated into what I felt like I really wanted to do, and just rode that out to the next opportunity. And so there were a number of different stops along the way before uh, the door was open in the NBA for me at age 28, which is 10 years after I graduated high school. And honestly, I'd put about a 10-year window on my like committed drive to get to Major League Sports as a broadcaster. And fortunately, the door opened in Charlotte. I was the voice of the Hornets for 8 years
Oh,
on the
cool.
radio, and then moved from there to Dallas, where I did both radio and television with the Mavericks. Ultimately, wound up in Seattle with the Sonics before they made the move to Oklahoma City. So I've been here all 17 seasons the Thunder have existed in OKC. So it's been great.
Wow, that's really cool. I'm from Cincinnati, but I go to school in Wake Forest, so very
Mm-hmm.
familiar with Charlotte. Um, Was that ever a challenge for you, like moving around to all of those different places?
Yeah, I mean it has its own challenges built in. I had never been to Charlotte when I took the job with the Hornets. Flew in. Actually, I was living in Hawaii at the time and broadcast
Cool.
University of Hawaii sports for a period of time, and really fell in love with the city. It's a great
Hmm.
city, as you know, being in North Carolina now. And at that time, the Hornets were in their second season of existence, so they had just begun to develop that love affair with the community and the state, and was there for that Hornet hysteria period that really took hold. Initially, they had built the Charlotte Coliseum to accommodate about 16,000 fans, and they had to open the upper deck, which they had originally built to host the ACC college basketball tournament.
Mhm.
They opened the upper deck because of that level of demand for tickets. So it was fun to be part of that from the infancy stages and to watch that team grow and develop. So a great place to start.
Definitely. That is really cool seeing it in its beginning stages and then like now and how far they've come. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Um, so could you kind of walk us through like a typical day in your life now?
Yeah. On a game day, I have really a 2 day prep process that I undergo. The first day, I'll do a lot of the biographical information that I'll have in front of me for the game broadcast itself. Then the day prior to the game, really get updated on anything that's newsworthy in the moment for
Hmm.
the team the Thunder will be playing that night. Any stories that are breaking, any injury issues that might be surfacing, kind of where the pulse is of the team, given the way they played recently. That formulates a lot of the way the game's going to be portrayed that night by me on air. And then just making certain I don't cut any corners, because the 15-man roster could show itself in any number of ways. If it's a blowout one way or the other, you need to be prepared for the 15th guy on the roster as much as I am for the number one player that's going to see the ball most often, just because that's how it all unfolds and how it all goes. But I love every aspect of it, Catherine, honestly. The prep
Hmm.
time is time I value to really get into the throes of what's going to be presented in the game itself, and then the game calls itself, honestly. I mean, I learned early on that I would prepare what I thought were great notes for a game and just shoehorn them in at any cost. And I learned over time that the game tells the story. I'm just there to kind of accentuate it as best I
Hmm.
can with different information I can provide.
That's awesome. Do you have like a favorite game that you broadcasted or any really special ones?
Yeah, I mean, the first playoff series I called was in Charlotte. That's when the Hornets had Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, Kendall
Okay.
Gill, Del Curry, really talented team. And I grew up in Boston, excuse me. So my favorite team growing up was the Celtics. They played the
Hmm.
Celtics in round one. That was the season and the series that Kevin McHale retired. He did that on the court at Charlotte Coliseum after game four, which was a 1 point Hornet win on an Alonzo Mourning buzzer beating jumper at the top of the key. So to face the team I grew up idolizing in that first playoff experience, and then to have it unfold the way it did, was the stuff of dreams, honestly. Also, there was kind of a tragic twist in that series. Reggie Lewis wound up collapsing in the first game of that series and ultimately lost his life because of a
Oh
heart
my
condition.
gosh.
Yeah, he went to a number of different cardiologists that gave him differing opinions and advice. He tried to come back to play, and it didn't work at the highest level, unfortunately.
Oh wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. That the
Yeah,
game itself is cool that you were able to, the team you worked for and then like your childhood team that you were always a fan of. That's really interesting. Um, let's see. I guess, do you have any advice for students or young professionals who are looking to pursue that same career and break into the sports broadcasting industry?
yeah. I mean, I only have an associate's degree, so I never attended a 4 year school. I was
Okay.
incredibly impatient to get where I wanted to go, and I'm not sure that that was to my betterment or detriment. I mean, we can reflect on that in many different ways, but I'm very graced to have the life unfold the way it has. But yeah, I would just say that I knew from an early age where my passion was. And even though I was advised by a number of influential people that I grew up appreciating, telling me, look, you have communication skills, being an attorney, you're intelligent enough to go pursue being a
Hmm.
doctor. Like that's where your future should lie. And my response was always, I appreciate your sharing. And this is where my passion is. This is what I'm pursuing. And so I
Hmm.
did. And I just stayed relentless in that pursuit. I always say that however the door opens, be prepared when it does as best you can. And so I think for any, especially aspiring play by play person, get as many experiences and opportunities as you can muster up, because there's nothing that beats experience. And you go through the different aspects as a broadcaster of having different situations thrown your way that you're calling. You can listen back or review on the TV side the tapes of how that went to learn. And that's really the only way to have it happen. But obviously, the educational side is pretty important in terms of vocabulary and establishing an ability to be on your feet in terms of moving as a reporter. Those sort of things also I would strongly promote. But I think the biggest thing is the recognition that it's the human resources that you tap into along the way, developing
Hmm.
relationships and recognizing that no matter where you land in life, it's going to be a relational game. So if you
That's
keep
true.
that in mind, follow your passion, to me, you can't lose, because you're going to be endowed with what it takes to have it all work out and have it be successful.
That's really great advice. Thank you. Um, my last question is, what is the most rewarding thing about your job?
I think just the immediacy of recognizing that I carry the responsibility of painting a picture for
Hmm.
uh, the listeners along the way, and that for me is about educating, informing, and bringing some entertainment to it. The recognition that that is what identifies for them what Oklahoma City Thunder basketball is all about as they're listening. So I don't take that responsibility lightly at all. I know that I need to be optimum on my game every game. I love that challenge. It really gets my juices flowing. So I feel very blessed, blessed and graced in it, Catherine, honestly. And I say this all the time. I'm 62 now. I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life. I've loved every minute of this journey and being able to contribute creatively in what this field is all about.
And that's, I feel like everything that I've heard from my parents and teachers and whatnot, they're like, have a job that doesn't feel like a job.
Yep.
So that's really awesome.
Yep. Great advice.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. It was so great to get to know you, and congratulations on winning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good luck to you.
Of course. Thank you.